On this edition of Southern Newsweek, the site where an Invercargill storage facility will be built was officially unveiled and blessed. A Kiwi paragliding champion has come back down to earth after breaking another record overseas. And a new helipad helps connect Rakiura Stewart Island to the mainland. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. The site where an Invercargill storage facility will be built was officially unveiled and blessed recently. Project 1225 was launched by councillors and officials as part of the path forward for the city's museum rebuild.
Mana whenua singing a karakia to bless the land before building gets underway. The clock started ticking on a new project in Southland, marked by the sod-turning event for the new Tisbury storage facility. The facility is part of Project 1225 and a stepping stone towards the ultimate goal.
But it's the first step in a wider project, which is the new museum in 3 years. So we need this done. So it's an exciting time.
It's set to safely house the 4.5 million piece collection for the Southland Museum and Art Gallery, which are parts of the project that are still in the works. They hope to have the facility ready within a year so they can move the collections and get started on the construction for the new attraction.
Project 1225 is incredibly ambitious, but we believe we have the team and the willpower and certainly all the enthusiasm to make sure that we get this museum built for our community.
Project 1225 is aimed at speeding up work around new museum and art gallery facilities for the southern city. Southland Museum's Pyramid building was forced to close in 2018 due to earthquake risk. It's hoped the new museum building, new home for the Tuatara and the Tisbury storage facility will be completed by late 2025. In Invercargill, The South today.
Invercargill's newest hotel on the block, the Langlands, is ticking over 2 months in business. Management say business has been brisker than expected, but staffing shortages continue to cause issues.
Locals and visitors mingling in the lobby bar of the Langlands. The 4.5-star hotel and dining complex in the heart of Invercargill's CBD finally opened 2 months ago. It's been a challenge launching the new hotel operation, but the manager says occupancy rates are exceeding expectations.
We're getting the local staycations. People living in Invercargill are coming for a weekend stay just to enjoy something. They're not having to drive 2 hours up the road to go to, a 4.55-star hotel and have a night out.
And while visitor numbers have been strong, finding and training enough new staff to take care of all the guests is an ongoing issue.
The wee niggle in the back of the head is the fact that we haven't had enough staff to be able to fully open all areas. So, the exciting news with that is the restaurant is going to get opened before Christmas.
Management say things are looking positive as international travel starts to pick up. The new team are now hoping for a busy holiday season as their new staff settle in. In Invercargill, The South today.
Kiwi paragliding champion Louis Tapper has come back down to earth after breaking another record while overseas. The Queenstown-based man spent an entire day not touching the ground in a sport he initially took up to conquer boredom.
Queenstown fly guy Louis Tapper has got another New Zealand record under his belt. He's back home after spending 2 months in Brazil, where he paraglided more than 400 kilometres in a straight line in 9 hours. Beating the previous record of 385 kilometres. Tapper's also been a top kiteboarder, setting a world record kiteboarding trip of 2,000 kilometres in 2010, before switching over to paragliding.
It was boredom. I was in my sister's town and there wasn't much going on there, and I saw some paragliders and I thought, well, I'll give that a crack, and then came back to Queenstown actually and learnt properly, and that was 11 years ago.
However, Tapper insists it's not about smashing times.
It's not about the records for me, it's actually about the progression and trying to do as good as I can do on a particular day. Yeah.
Tapper's now planning to enjoy some quiet time on the ground, relaxing and enjoying the world-class Queenstown mountains. In Queenstown, The South today.
Rakiura Stewart Island has become a little more connected to the mainland thanks to a new helipad. The landing facility was built using funds raised by the community, and they're confident the upgrade will save lives.
A show of community support for a vital connection. Helicopters Otago owner Graham Gale was the first pilot to land at Rakiura Stewart Island's newly commissioned helipad. It's a facility the community hopes will improve air safety in the Deep South, making it easier to reach the island in emergencies. But community leaders admit it took a lot of work to get the project off the ground.
It's great to see it completed. There was contentions with it to begin with, but like any project on the island, once it gets underway, people get in behind it and all work towards it.
The emergency helicopter receiving an especially warm welcome from one resident with first-hand experience.
It makes a hell of a difference. That's the reason why I'm here talking to you today, because they saved my life, and a heart attack from here one night and straight to the knee. It was marvellous.
The 12-metre diameter helipad is located at Trail Park and features emergency lighting and a windsock. It's hoped those features will help pilots to land safely in the frequently challenging weather at the bottom of New Zealand. In Stewart Island, The South Today.
The floats were covered in tinsel and crowds of people lined George Street on Sunday as the Santa parade returned to Dunedin. There were several familiar faces among the floats and performers, as well as a visit from the big man himself.
Hundreds of children lined up along Dunedin's redeveloped George Street, eager to catch a glimpse of St Nicholas as the Santa parade returned to town. Children enthusiastically waved to the people and characters on board the floats, with many themes on show, including references to beloved fairy tales. There was also a tongue-in-cheek dancing act featuring people dressed as road cones, hinting at the ongoing construction work in the city. However, the redeveloped George Street proved a bit tight for some of the larger floats, with the parade finishing up in the Octagon. The cloudy sky had threatened to dampen the parade, but the rain stayed away as families got their much sought-after view of Santa Claus to mark the start of the Christmas season. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Still to come on this edition of Southern Newsweek, all of the fun of the rural fair is on offer at Wyndham's AMP show, and members of Otago's Polish community celebrate a major milestone. Tēnā koe, welcome back. From animals to flower and baking displays, all the fun of the rural fair was on offer at Wyndham's AMP show. Scores of rural folk and townies came out at the weekend to experience the sights, sounds and smells of agricultural Aotearoa in the south.
8-year-old Winton girl Hazel Futter displaying the rabbit she shot. Her efforts were part of a hunting and fishing competition during the Wyndham AMP show at the weekend. The event was one of many featured at the show. Joined alongside equestrian events showcasing perfectly groomed ponies and riders, while the dunking event left some looking dishevelled. COVID forced the last show to be cancelled, with more people believed to have made the extra effort this year.
Yeah, show's going really well. I'm out there mingling with the crowd and they're really positive, enjoying it. Plenty of activities for the kids and obviously the livestock looking really good, and yeah, lots of people around.
There were many fun food events. Mimi Hull woman Janice Bulling's fruitcake coming out on top of the show, with children also invited to bring along their baking or food sculptures. While back outside, Henderson says there were 1,100 entries in the sheep, cattle and horse classes.
The entries are really good this year, up on our previous show, which is really pleasing. Dairy cattle are well up, and horses obviously are a big part of it.
Henderson says the team is really pleased with how the day turned out. In Wyndham, The South Today.
International and local talent will be returning to the streets of Christchurch in January for the Bread and Circus World Buskers Festival. It'll be the 30th anniversary of the event, which had to be cancelled this year due to COVID-19 restrictions.
Busking is making a comeback to Christchurch. A festive atmosphere accompanied the announcement of the return of Christchurch's popular busking festival.
Thanks for coming to the launch of Bread and Circus World Buskers Festival.
The event's set to be held in the city over January next year and will mark the festival's 30th anniversary.
It's been quite emotional because having the festival not on for a couple of years, now getting the internationals back, there's a lot of logistics behind it, but we're super pumped for it.
And there's no denying the fun and playful atmosphere that the buskers bring to the inner city. It makes for a zany start to every new year for Christchurch.
And it's not just Cantabrians excited by its return.
2 days ago, the BBC contacted our office and said, we want to do a special on World Buskers Bread and Circus as one of the top 5 festivals in the world.
An eclectic mix of local and overseas performers will take to the streets and alleyways around central Christchurch.
Now, if you don't know what the Purple Rabbit is, Google it.
Well, the Purple Rabbit is a little bit of magic and circus all rolled into one. It's a little bit of magic, mischief and mayhem and a lot of cheekiness.
All right, so Pauline, so don't worry, I'm a trained professional. This is what I do, all right? So I'm going to swallow the blade.
The 2023 festival will run from mid-January across 3 weekends and the summer school holidays. And with a mix of outdoor busking spectacles and ticketed events, organisers are promising there's something for everyone. In Christchurch, The South today.
A piece of New Zealand maritime history is being painstakingly restored just southwest of Christchurch. Jim Lapsley has dedicated the last 3 years to building a replica of the first ever Hamilton jet boat.
This historic replica of Bill Hamilton's original jet boat painstakingly restored. For almost 70 years, the jet boat has been a symbol of Kiwi ingenuity and invention on the global stage, revolutionising the world of conventional boating. Rolleston man Jim Lapsley has spent 3 years building an exact replica of the first Hamilton jet boat, all from photographs.
I have an interest in lost history, and it's a way of sort of preserving, although it's not the original, it is preserving history in as the most accurate representation that I can possibly do.
Lapsley has had a lifelong interest in jet boats, getting his first boat at the age of 16, 3 years before he got a car. He says Bill Hamilton never claimed to have invented the jet boat, instead refining the 1950s engine and design of the boat enough to produce the first useful modern jet boat.
When they finally got this boat going, that changed the game completely. So you can trace basically all modern water jet propulsion back to this boat.
The jet boat's unrivaled performance in the shallowest of rivers revolutionised water transport and remains a quintessential New Zealand invention. Lapsley is hoping to have the Saucy Jane on the water by the middle of next year, and Southland The South today.
Members of Otago's Polish community made their way to Port Chalmers on Tuesday from across New Zealand to celebrate a major milestone. The first organised group of Polish settlers arrived in Dunedin by boat 150 years ago, and many descendants of those pioneers were on hand to celebrate.
Polish colours proudly on show in Port Chalmers. It's the 150th anniversary of the region's first large group of Polish settlers who arrived on board the sailing ship Palmerston. The Honorary Consul General of Poland unveiled a commemorative plaque at the Port Chalmers Town Hall in front of a proud audience, including many direct descendants of those first arrivals. The group also stopped off at nearby Back Beach for a photo opportunity and the chance to take in the view that first greeted their ancestors. It wasn't an easy process for the sea-weary settlers eager to start their new lives.
As much as they were looking forward to stepping on the solid ground after 109 days at sea, that didn't happen for them.
There was suspected scarlet fever on board, but Quarantine Island was already at capacity, meaning the settlers were instead quarantined off the Aramoana Spit.
They arrived on the 6th of December and they were let out of quarantine on a Christmas Day. And there were beaches, the sunshine. When in Poland, when they left, it was the winter coming. So that must have been cultural shock.
Many of those original settlers worked on key infrastructure projects around the south, including the construction of the railway network. Families are proud they can still trace their roots and credit the work of the region's Polish Heritage Trust, which organised the anniversary events. In Dunedin The South today.
After the break on Southern Newsweek, Wakatipu's land search and rescue team introduce a new furry friend to their team, and a major retail project in South Dunedin is being lauded as an important step forward by the city's mayor. Tēnā koe, welcome back. Southland contractors say construction of a new subdivision in Gore should be finished by the end of January next year, provided the weather plays ball. The major roads into the area have been named after native trees and are now fully sealed and ready for residents.
Matai Ridge is the newest address in Gore. The subdivision's been worked on for the last few years, and those behind the project are confident it should be ready for further development by the end of next month.
We're a little bit of footpath to do in the cul-de-sac, and then the basin's about 80% complete. So once that's all done, we'll be topsoiling all of the lots and just tidying those up, and then hopefully ready to hand over end of January.
Wilson Contractors site manager Cody McKenzie says the project is now in its final stages. Graham Maxwell from real estate agency First National Gore says titles for the 36 sections should be released by March 2023, allowing for houses to start going up.
So we've had 36 sections on the market with Matai Ridge in 2 stages, and now we've got just 5 sections left in the development. Development sort of works have been undertaken over the last year, and we've now got a street formed and footpaths, and it's all been done to a really, really high standard.
Matai Ridge is Gore's newest and largest residential subdivision since the 1980s. The modern new homes are expected to sell for between $700,000 and $800,000. 2 of the main roads at the Gore subdivision, Kahikatea Drive and Kowhai Place, are being sealed this month. In Gore, The South today.
Wakatipu's land search and rescue team are introducing a new furry friend to their team, and Labrador Spaniel Stag has already made a successful debut on the job, aiding his partner Paul Donovan in a recent search and rescue operation.
High vis and wagging tails as Paul Donovan and Stag run through their daily training exercises. The pair are the first search and rescue dog team in 10 years in the Wakatipu region. Donovan says it takes more than 1,000 hours and costs around $1,000 a year to train a dog. But they have an important role to play in the adventure capital of central Otago, with 3 more teams on their way.
Yeah, I mean, Wakatipu search and rescue dogs, it's just really thriving at the moment. We've got an avalanche dog. Stag's our only wilderness search dog at the moment, but there's 2 other dogs in the pathway that we're really hopeful in the next 12 to 24 months will become operational, and that would put the Wakatipu in an amazing place in terms of resource.
The team of Paul and Stag only became operational in October, but have already been involved in a successful rescue. All of the members of the search and rescue team are volunteers, coming from a wide range of backgrounds.
Remembering the dogs are just one part of an amazing team in the Wakatipu, up to 60 people who give up their time to look for the lost, missing and injured.
Donovan and his 3-year-old pup will continue to train, while remaining on call in case of another emergency. In Queenstown, The South today.
The Christmas cheer kicked up a gear across central Otago over the weekend. A flurry of summery events gave locals a chance to relax and have their fun as the festive season got underway.
Warming up for the holiday season with a cavalcade of Christmas events held in central Otago over the weekend. It was a day of song and dance as Cromwell hosted a very central Christmas. The party happened on the lawn of McNulty House in the historic precinct. The new venue offered ample space for families to spread their picnic blankets, while the kids joined performers from the local drama school. And in Alexandra, the Roxburgh Brass Band led a chorus of carols on the lawn at St Enoch's Church. The event attracted interest from all ages, with the Ukes in Time Ukulele Ensemble providing the encore. Over in the Maniatoto, it was Omakau's turn with a combined Christmas party and market. Around 500 people turned out for the event at the Omakau Domain, this DIY water slide proving the star attraction. Across The South today.
A major retail project in South Dunedin's King Edward Street is being lauded as an important step forward by the city's mayor. Jules Raddick says the reopening of a 1930s heritage building this week, along with an ongoing redevelopment, are important steps in the resurgence of the area.
A significant step forward in the revitalisation of South Dunedin.
So look, with great pride and pleasure, I declare the building open. Well done, Justin.
Dunedin Mayor Jules Redick congratulating developer Justin Stott last night at the official opening of his new building in the area. The refurbished site at 160 King Edward Street is one of a handful of projects Stott's working on in South D.
We'd love to make a new building next door. We think that along with this building, a heritage building, with a new building next door, and then hopefully the South Dunedin Community Hub in the coming years, that it'll really bring South Dunedin alive.
Redick believes the development happening in South Dunedin has provided a more positive outlook for businesses and workers down there. Stott says the upgrades will help enhance the area, as well as bringing the building up to modern earthquake code.
Strengthen it was the important thing, so that, we could make it a safe building.
The revitalised building houses optometrist Matthew's Eye Care and physiotherapy clinic, the Core Centre. Both Stott and Dunedin's mayor say they're focused on the next 50 years of the southern suburb and still see a vibrant future for the area. In Dunedin, The South today.
That wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.